Thank you very much, President Brown, Chairman Desmond, my fellow honorees, Dr. Gifford and Dr. Huntley, members of the faculty, staff, and most of all, those receiving degrees today and your family. I am Al Gore. I used to be the next President of the United States of America. My life has changed in the last year. It's a time of transition for me as it is for you. Some of my transition hasn't been all that easy. For example, they let other cars on the road with me when I drive now. It's not funny. I was used to motorcades and limousines. I was thinking of that when I pulled up to the loading dock behind the college today. Just to give you an example of what it's been like, a few weeks ago, my wife Tipper and I were driving ourselves from Nashville to our farm 50 miles away. There were no men running alongside to give comfort and security. As a matter of fact, it was a rented Ford Taurus. And it was dinner time, and we were still miles from our destination, and so we pulled off the interstate highway and looked for a place to eat. We found a Shoney's restaurant. For those of you unfamiliar with Shoney's, it's a low-cost family restaurant chain. And we walked in and sat down in a booth. The waitress came over and made a big commotion over Tipper. And then the waitress went to the couple in the booth right behind us. And it was hard to hear what she was saying because she lowered her voice. And she said, "Yes, that's former Vice President Al Gore and his wife Tipper." And the man said, "He's come down a long way, hasn't he?" That's not funny either. The follow-up to that story, true story, is another true story. The next day I got on an airplane and flew to Africa, to the nation of Nigeria, to the city of Lagos. And, you know, everywhere I go, the Lagos contingent. And when I made my speech there, I began with that story. And I told it pretty much as I've told it to you. A low-cost family restaurant chain. Tipper and I were driving ourselves. And they laughed, and I went on and made my speech. And then I went back to the airport to get on the plane and fly back to the United States. And we stopped for refueling in the Azores Islands in the middle of the ocean. And when they opened up the door of that Gulfstream jet, here came a man running across the tarmac waving a piece of paper. "Call Washington! Call Washington!" And I thought, what in the world could be wrong in Washington? Then I remembered it could be a bunch of things. But what it actually was that one of the news wire services had already printed the following story and sent it nationwide. And I quote, "Former Vice President Al Gore announced in Nigeria yesterday, quote, 'My wife Tipper and I have opened a low-cost family restaurant called Shoney's, and we are running it ourselves.'" Before I could get back to U.S. soil, Jay Leno had already started in on it. Tipper and I were flipping burgers, and not that there'd be anything wrong with that. 3 days later, I got a real nice handwritten letter from my friend Bill Clinton. Congratulations on the new restaurant, Al. He and I like to share in each other's successes in life. That'll be on eBay later if you're interested in bidding. Not really. So it's been that kind of year for me. I turned to teaching. I teach at Fisk University in Nashville and Middle Tennessee State University, and I'm on the faculty at UCLA. I'm a visiting professor, or VP for short. It's a way of hanging on. It's not funny. I did enjoy my service as vice president. It was a tremendous honor and privilege. And I appreciate the kind words that were included in the citation. If I do say so myself, I think Bill Clinton and I did a damn good job in the White House when we were there. Now, not all of my predecessors as vice president really enjoyed the job. You may have heard some demeaning comments made about the vice presidency. I won't dwell on them. But one of my predecessors, Thomas Marshall, was the vice president under President Woodrow Wilson. And he said, the vice president is akin to a man in a cataleptic state. He can't move, he can't speak, but he's acutely aware of everything going on all around him. John C. Calhoun, another one of my predecessors, actually gave up the vice presidency. He resigned as vice president in order to become a senator from South Carolina. As many of you know, he subsequently lost that seat to Strom Thurmond, and who's still there, incidentally. People have asked me during this time of transition, if you had it to do over again, would you do anything differently in the campaign? I said, yes, I would. If I had it to do over again, I would have kissed Tipper longer at the convention. But she was struggling, and Tipper and I are writing a book together on family. We were strongly advised not to try that. Former President and Mrs. Jimmy and Rosalind Carter told us in very stern, warning tones, don't do that. It almost hurt their relationship. We haven't had that problem. And I've discovered in my research one of the reasons why. We just finished a part of a chapter on marriage, and many of the experts say that the typical marriage has 3 stages. Number 1, infatuation. And number 2, power struggles, when each tries to remake the other. I see some of y'all are still in that stage. And then third is mutual acceptance. I'm in the 4th stage, which is abject surrender. We haven't had any arguments at all to speak of. Now, I want to make 3 points to you before I close. First of all, I want to congratulate you, and I can remember how I felt. I bet you feel even more strongly than that, because your road has been a difficult one. I just can't imagine the pride that your family feels in you right now. It's just overflowing. Treasure this moment. It's a wonderful accomplishment. And I know the main thing is to hear my speech, but when I think back on my graduation, I remember my family being there. I remember my friends. I remember the service.